Hello, I'm Dr. Alan Daws with the Paulding County School District, and I'm here today to tell you about the Hope Scholarship in 10 minutes or less. Let's get to it. The Hope Scholarship was started in 1993. It's a merit-based scholarship for our Georgia graduates. Really, there's one giant pot of money from the Georgia Student Finance Commission that funds two very similar scholarships. One is the Hope Scholarship, the other is the Zell Miller Scholarship. The requirements for these two scholarships are really based mostly around your academic performance inside of high school. And this money is very specific. It only goes to college tuition only. If you're looking for the full details of this scholarship, you can find it on georgiafutures.org, but I'd like to give you an overview here right now. So, who is eligible? Well, you've got to be enrolled in a degree-seeking school, college, whether it's a four-year college, a two-year college, or a private college. You've got to be a state resident for 12 consecutive months prior to that first day of college. And you've got to have at least a 3.0 Hope GPA in high school for the Hope Scholarship. If you're looking for the Zell Miller Scholarship, you've got to have a 3.7 Hope GPA. And in addition to that, you've got to have a 26 on your ACT or a 1200 on your SAT. Also, for both of these scholarships, you must have at least 4 rigorous courses, which we will talk about in a moment. So, what are our Hope eligible schools? Here is a list. Most of the 4-year, 2-year, and private institutions inside of the state of Georgia will be included on this list. So if you want to pause here, you can find all the schools and colleges inside of Georgia that will accept Hope or Zell Miller scholarships. The Hope GPA. This is probably the most complicated part of the Hope Scholarship. Each of our high school transcripts has our own GPA on it. You will notice that it's based on a 100-point scale. The Hope GPA is based on a 4.0 scale, with an A equaling a 4, a B equaling a 3, a C is worth 2 points, and then a D, which we do not have, is worth 1, an F is worth 0. So with this, we've got to look at a different type of GPA just to get this scholarship. So only certain classes are included inside of our Hope GPA. What's included is really core-based courses. So if you look at your high school transcript, the first 2 numbers on the transcript, on the course number, really indicates whether or not it's going to be counted towards your Hope GPA. It is not based on what type of credit that we give for graduation purposes. It's really based on those 2 numbers. And these numbers do not round up. They do not move in any way. So you can see that foreign language is an option below, pretty much anything that's in the 60s. And then for all of your core classes, anything that starts with a 23, a 27, a 26, a 40, or a 45 is going to count. So common electives are included in Hope, and that includes psychology, sociology, reading enrichment, a couple of other things you can see below. So what's not included in your Hope GPA? Well, a lot of things. So anything that's taken inside of your middle school years will not be included inside of Hope GPA. So if you took algebra or 9th grade lit inside of your 8th grade year, that does not count. Also, any academic electives that is not part of those 2 numbers that I mentioned below, for example, like an SAT prep or dramatic writing, that's not going to count. All CTAE courses will not count. All fine arts courses will not count. And any physical education classes will not count. What do we do with our Hope weights as far as the transcript goes? So, we add 10 points to our transcript for any AP or dual enrollment class. We add 5 points for any honors class. However, for the Hope GPA, all of that goes away. They strip away all extra points that are added. They get it down to their base number, and then they create their calculation based upon that. Now, any AP or dual enrollment class will receive a weight, but it's based on the 4.0 scale. So instead of an A counting as a B counting as 3.0, you would add a 0.5 to it. So an AP class that you scored a B in would be worth 3.5 points on the Hope GPA. You saw me pause there when I said a 4.0, I was going to add a 0.5, but that brings me to my next point. A 4.0 is the cap for a Hope GPA. You cannot add an additional 0.5 to that cap of 4.0. So if you receive an A in a dual enrollment class, you've earned a 4.0, you cannot add any additional weight to it. So here's an example of our Hope GPA versus our traditional GPA. So you can see here on the 4.0 scale, if you took algebra, US history, team sports, and digital tech, and you scored a B, a C, an A, and a B, you would equal out to a 3.0 GPA. If you scored those same scores, but you factored in your Hope GPA, you're really only counting 2 of those classes. You're only counting algebra and US history. So in this scenario, you'd have a 2.5 Hope GPA. So you can see here just how different you would have these two calculations to be, right? 3.0 versus 2.5. That is a significant difference. I mentioned before about rigorous courses. You must have 4 rigorous courses to get the Hope Scholarship. The Georgia Student Finance Commission publishes a list of these rigorous courses, and not all classes that you take at the high school level are considered rigorous. So what are some common ones? Really, any advanced math that's above advanced algebra. So advanced algebra included, but anything above that is probably going to be on that list. Chemistry, physics, forensic science, just to name a few in the science world. Any world language that's a second level, so like Spanish 2, French 2, that kind of thing. Any AP class and any dual enrollment class that's in a core area. Those would all be considered a rigorous course. Remember, you must have 4 total rigorous courses just to get the Hope Scholarship or the Zell Miller Scholarship. Where do I find my Hope GPA? This can only be found at Georgia Futures. Okay? So you've got to log in and look in Georgia Futures to find your Hope GPA. If it's not showing up, your high school counselor is there to help you. Most likely there's some kind of issue with your name or social security number not matching, perhaps a birthday. Get with your high school counselor and they can walk you through that step. Finally, to wrap this up, who's responsible for knowing their Hope GPA and for keeping track of this? Honestly, the answer is you. You are ultimately responsible for this because this is an outside scholarship. This is something that is calculated outside of the Paulding County School District. And really the only way to know this is just to look for your Hope GPA and follow along with your rigorous courses and keep track of that, right? So we're here to help you. However, this is controlled by an outside entity, outside of our school district. So the Georgia Student Finance is really the one driving this. So please make sure that you stay on top of this and follow along so that you can get this important scholarship. If you have questions, we've got resources. You can check your Hope GPA calculation page at Georgia Futures. You can look on our Paulding County School District website, or you can contact your local school counselor. Thanks for your time, and I hope you have a great day.